Yo, hello. We have something to discuss. Firstly, I ate. So I've been doing some replanning. Cool. I ate. We are doing a fast. So it's interesting. I've definitely hit over a new leaf or a new emotional feeling, and it's interesting because I'm worried that it's going to get worse again, but I'm more in control of it. So it feels like the grieving of father needed to take time, right? It really needed to take time. And I think that subsided. And funnily enough, I think if you've been here for a while, that week or week and a half where I was extremely sad and there was grass and there was an album that I released and I was smoking from morning till night, and even though I was doing stuff, right, but I was depressed, I was upset, I was sad, that experience there, I think, was useful for me to experience other bits and pieces. Furthermore, what was important is me leaning on people over the last couple of weeks, meaning like talking to a lot of people. And in talking to a lot of people, then I kind of got this like, okay, like I did the talking to people again, and everyone's doing like their own bits of their life and stuff, and they're doing their things. And it kind of got me back into the like, no one cares about anybody but themselves and is just doing them. So it's like, okay, do that then. So I think I have, the grieving is less. Step one. Step two is I received photos from my thumbnails literally from 2 months ago, and I look jacked. I didn't realize I looked that jacked or that cut, that shredded. I was literally, I would say, I was correct. There should be a video somewhere out there saying the last 14 days. I was literally 14 days away from beginning to slowly refeed, and I kind of semi-lost it at that time, and Dad was dying at that same time, and it kind of all crescendoed, and then my ex threatened me at the same time, etc. I think what I've also done is, in my ex leaving Australia and beginning to double down on similar behavior, so she gained a heap of weight, she changed all her hairstyle 900 times, she's doing the usual, I'm going to take photos with my man because look, I have a man, and I'm going to plaster that all over while not telling everybody that he's just a little crack boyfriend. Like, she's in like a delusion. And when we were together, she would often take photos of us together, which were clearly for her. It wasn't an experience of us loving together. Like, it had an offness feeling about it, like a narcissistical or trying to prove to mum something, right? And her mother is in a new relationship. Her stepdad is now gone and out of the picture, so her mother's in a new relationship, and it's like she's fighting for her mum's approval, and she's like, look, I'm just like you, mum. And I guess that's every girl, right? Every girl is like, look, I'm just like you, mum. I'm just like you. So I can't even fault it. The problem is her mum's really unwell. I would say her mum's really unwell, or at least how I met her and spent a week and a half with her and how she treated her daughter. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy of how to treat your daughter. If the partner that she's been with for 2 years says, hey, I'm not really speaking to your daughter anymore, but she is in trouble and she's doing a lot of substances and she's in a really bad place and she's overdosing, can you please look after her? And her mum not to do anything about that. Her mum is obviously dealing with her own trauma, and really shouldn't be having kids. She's kind of the mum that sits around and smokes cigarettes in the house with your daughter being 10 and 8 years old, and that's kind of where we're at, you know. And look, everybody deals with their own trouble, their own etc. But I guess what's happened to me is my ex has slowly become, as I've been moving forward through my actual growth, not smashing narcotics and pretending I'm growing, but actual real growth, it's become more and more separate as her behavior keeps being the same. And it's like, okay. And in experiencing that one of my good friends took her own life, which was a couple of days ago, if you were here that I got the news, I think that's really what sent me over the edge. And I realized, like, what are my choices here? What are my choices here? You know, at the end of the day, there is 99.99999% of people will never deal with their shit. And I've got to come to terms with that. That's including you. And I'm not being here to be harsh about it, but I used to have this methodology or this thought that everybody confronts their shit at some point, whether it be on your deathbed, you know? And I saw my father, you know, confront it personally for himself, but not really in the scheme of things. And I still kind of believe that people confront it in some sort of way on their deathbed, but also not really. Also not really. 99% of people will avoid the pain for their entire life. They'll avoid the courage to face their life. They'll avoid it all, and they will die with complete failed potential of everything they could have been if they only faced what they needed to face. And everyone, you know too what you need to face. I don't even need to tell you what you need to face. I don't know what you need to face, but you know what you need to face. You know that you'll do everything else but this thing. You'll know you'll do everything else but this thing. Right? I'll do everything else but decide to genuinely eat clean forever and never use food as a narcotic. Because really, food is the only thing I use as a narcotic. Everything else I can pick up, put down quite easily. You saw me if you've been here. I was like, I thought I was over the grieving. I had some grass. I was like, whoa, this is bad. It's a checkout. Got rid of it. Not a massive problem. Food becomes a massive problem for me. You know, the one thing that we avoid, that we know will make the biggest difference in our life, we avoid. Okay? And there's steps, right? I know that if I stop checking up on my ex and I mentally stop completely thinking about her, I will feel better. I'm not an idiot. I know I'll feel better. I'm choosing not to do that because that love was it was the deepest love I've ever felt in my life times 150,000. And I don't know if she was a narcissist and she got into my head and made me feel that on purpose or don't know. And I don't know the answers, and it's like I don't know and 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 I don't know, and she's not giving me the answers, and she's actively chosen to be like, I'm not growing. Even though while saying I am growing. So what's happened with the ex is like, I've seen you go do all that. You've continued. We've had chats. We've had major chats. Promised not to take narcotics. Saw that it was a massive problem. Went to Narcotics Anonymous to be like, oh no. And it's weird to go to Narcotics Anonymous. She wasn't an addict per se, but it was more like, look, I have a problem and even they didn't accept me, so I'm just gonna use, it's like this weird thing, and she knows she has to deal with the stuff with her mum. She knows she has family stuff to deal with. She knows the literal things to deal with. We all know it. You don't have to be a rocket scientist as well. It doesn't make you a genius that you know what you need to deal with. Knowing what you need to deal with does not make you deal with it. So I sat there, and I think there's been a shift. I realized, and as I'm writing all these albums, etc., you might never work on your shit, and yeah, I will not accept bitches in my life. Factual. In fact, all friends and everybody that I lean on right now, there's bits of bitch in them that they haven't confronted. There's bits of bitch in me that I haven't confronted. Cool, but I will not that I'm comparing, but I'm kind of am. I'm less of a bitch than I've ever been, if that makes sense. I will not deal with people not dealing with their shit. At least I'm trying to deal with my stuff every day. At least I'm attempting to deal with my stuff every day. And to be honest, I am dealing with my stuff. Food and diet is not rocket science for me. What I disliked is going back and forth. Like 3 years stayed really good shape, and then something happened, and then 4 months I got into bad shape. Like that I'm trying to rewire. I'm trying to rewire with like really hard, like moving forward, how do I want to live my life? Point is it's begun to be this thing where I look at her and I go, I am so much better than how I was treated. So much better. I don't know if you've heard this before or if I've even said this, but I want you to picture that we live together. We work from home together. We do life together. We travel around for 2 years. I'd have to remind her every couple of weeks to ask me about my dying father. I'd like to remind you that she left me. I keep saying she left me. Over the last 6 months, there's many times that I said you need to live separately. And I said we are broken up in like March last year. And we did. We moved, we said we can't continue. And we decided to, how did this happen? So we said, no, we need to move. It was too quiet. And we're like, I can't do this. And we're broken up. This isn't working. And this is when we moved to Brisbane. And at that point, she moved to an Airbnb. And she never moved back into here. So we would always spend every night together at my place or hers almost every night, but she never moved back here. And what we did is we thought she needed more life experience. So I was like, look, let's not sleep with anybody else, but let's still see each other and you can do your life, etc. But that wasn't enough because her doing life wasn't actually addressing any of her trauma. It was just other rubbish. So, but then we traveled to Amsterdam together, then that rekindled things, then we came back. It was like the love was still really heavy, and then she did move back in, and I was like, move in. And then we went to travel, and that's when we broke up. But let's say we mutually broke up, whatever it was. And still, knowing even in emails, literally within like that, my father doesn't have long to live. Not a message, not a phone call, not a I don't want a response, but I'm passing on my condolences. No feeling. Zero. Nothing. The person's trauma is so deep that I've never met somebody so either, and I don't believe in bad people, so I do believe that it looks like she must have had a more difficult life than I can even imagine or even understand. Or there's severe brain damage there. Or you're just a bitch and you just chose the drugs over reality. And those consequences, every action has consequences. And if I really look back at all those consequences, she has tried, and her threat really to me and all of that is trying to kill herself off for me, because she knows that if she does enough bad to me that I could kill her off, and that means she can live peacefully knowing that, well, Andrew will never take me back anyway, so therefore I can continue with my life. It didn't work out, and Andrew would never take me back. It's in essence trying to kill herself off for me to make it easier for her, but I refused to do that, and it angered her, because if it angers you, because if I go, no, I still love you and I still think that we were meant to be with each other, and she's like, no, I'm gonna, get away from me. No, I need somebody less man, less nice. Can you believe that? Can you believe being the partner of that partner? And what she thinks of you is like, I have chosen you because you're less man than Andrew. I can't actually handle man. I want somebody more placid, somebody that just looks at me and is like, wow, all the time. Her words. It's like, wow. And I just need somebody that's just not so masculine at all, and it just has just placid man. And he's like, yeah, this man has, he has a weed problem, but we're gonna go sort it out together. And then she's like, nah, he's probably not gonna sort it out. He's probably not gonna sort it out. I don't believe that he's gonna sort it out, but we'll sort it out. And then we'll move to the UK together, because like you wouldn't move to the UK, but he would, and I'll have babies with him. And okay, have some crack babies. Okay, just so everyone knows, when you have a drug experience with somebody, there's a connection that's built with that person, and it's artificial. It's not real. So narcotics create artificial connections with humans that you then get disillusioned, and that they are like, oh, this is real. They give you access to, if your neurochemistry was a little bit different, or if you were healed, etc., that there may be something there. But generally speaking, if you've had no friends and for the first time you take some psychedelics with another human being, and then you experience love and stuff, and then you're on a weeks-long bender, and you're in this spiritual world where you're the healer of the universe and the healer of the spirit, and healers don't exist. Just so you know, it's all neurochemistry. It's all mental, right? So I'm a licensed hypnotherapist, magician as well. So healers only exist in healing because it is through language that the mind then believes the healing and then begins to heal, but it's actually just through language. That's all that happens. I'm rambling. Point is, as a whole concept, the ex is in a situation of repeated pattern, repeated, and age, trauma, whatever. But at the moment, it seems like she molds to whatever this partner is. And, the partner, from the looks of him, is just an average Joe Blow, just drinks some beers, 9-to-5 job, in his 30s, 40s, whatever, and now going to festivals, and now has this young Chiquita that likes him and has shown him a tit and is like, wow. And he's in a honeymoon period and he's cool, and she's now got all the experience from me, and then she's fitting in with them, and it's whatever. Like, when I realized, what am I doing? I'm focusing on such low grade rubbish. She hates her business. She hates every single one of her customers. She despises her job. It makes her throw up. It makes her cry. She hates herself. She hates everything she does. She avoids it. She continues doing it. She avoids any pain. She avoids any of this. She just wants to run away and do nothing and just literally be a plague on society and just use humans, use people, use narcotics, use life for her own benefit. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, you can do it, babe. You can do it. Like, the other side is so good. Like, when you get to the other side, you'll actually be happy with yourself, etc. And she knew it all. And, she chose to not do any of it, and instead do whatever she's doing. And in reality, I'm just a lot better than that. I'm just a lot better than that. It's come to this point that I don't know. She would have to be completely healed and apologetic, and I can see through bullshit from a mile away. Like, I can feel a person's spirit. Like, I don't think you can get much past me. Well, apparently you can in this relationship, but you can't get a lot of things past me in general. I don't think that, I don't know what that apology or the ramifications of her making amends here would take to ever make amends with me. And frankly, a bit of the devil inside of me wants me to seal her fucking fate and be like, you are destined to be a loser for the rest of your life. And then I catch myself and I'm like, that's so harsh. So I did this to one person. If we're honest, I did this to one person. I did this to one person once. This person, I was very good friends with him. And behind my back, while I was traveling to Japan, he got in with my partner at the time, and we hung out as a trio all the time. And hanky panky went on, and he confronted me and said, I'm so sorry, I have to tell you this, I can't hold it in anymore. He told me, and I was like, okay. It was at a cafe. I was like, all right, we're no longer friends. And he's like, punch me, hit me, please, like, do anything to me, please, let's make this right, let's make this. And I'm like, no. And I left him with the words, something along the lines, this is the person that you are, this is all you'll ever be, and you'll regret this for the rest of your life, and I will never ever speak to you again because you are, and then created a label for him. In a very peak emotional experience, created a label for him to identify himself as. So I basically anchored a really negative identity onto him. Now, this is probably the first time I'm admitting this online or anything like that. I think I still remember that act as probably one of the worst acts that I've ever done. Because I've been told about this human being, and this human being still talks about me, has gone completely downhill from there, and it's been nearly a decade. You know, this is the person that apparently got found once, caught once, smoking crack out of a light bulb, saying, no, Andrew will come back. And this person has a tattoo of a card that I did this really large magic thing for him, and I really cemented like this. There was a card that he chose, etc., and he got a tattoo of this card on his arm. So he has a permanent reminder on his arm of Andrew, and he's smoking crack through a light bulb, and he's like, Andrew will call me any day now. Any day. We're best friends. And you know, he never went further to try and apologize to me. He never went further to really make amends. So I guess if he made amends, and if he went further, then I could release him of that. And recently I have been thinking of maybe finding out his contact and being like, that's a negative vibe to put onto somebody, and that's quite nasty. Just because I have the skills to do that, I've basically sealed this person's fate for the rest of his life. Really unbeknownst to him. Really, you know, if he's not skillful in that. And that's quite negative. Like, that is quite negative. As I say that is quite negative. I was very, very hurt. I was very hurt. We hung out. I gave him my life. I got him a job. I helped him set up a business. We hung out every day. We spoke for 3 to 4 hours a day every day for 4 years, 3 years. We hung out as a trio a long time, and he literally did the one thing that you just don't do. Everything else is fine with me. It's very hard to break any of my barriers. Very hard, because I'm obviously anxiously attached. I just kept giving. And I'm here now in a similar position. I'm here in a similar position where I'm with my ex, and what I've left her with is some identity things, which is her current identity. It is her current identity. And in that and she's aware of that identity as well. And we're saying you can move past this, you got to work on the stuff. It's not like I was negative to her, but really from here, and she can't manufacture this. She can't pretend. She's like, oh, that was just an identity that Andrew gave me. That's not me. The way it gets planted is it gets planted and it's permanent. You can't remove it unless we genuinely have a conversation together and we remove that. Like, you know that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like saying, hey, I'm really sorry you spilt the milk. And you're like, I do not forgive you for spilling the milk. Ever. And that person knows that they spilt the milk. No matter how much they can convince themselves that they're a good person, they're a great person, whatever it is, they'll know deep within their core that they spilt the milk. And they hurt that person so bad that they're unwilling to forgive. The most I haven't met a more understanding person than I. I understand criminals, bums, I haven't met a more understanding person than I. I'm sure there are, by the way. My ego's not that high. I'm sure there's thousands and millions of people that are more understanding than I. But in my 34 years of experience, I haven't met anybody more understanding than me. Point being is, with all of that understanding, you can never unravel that. And the whole point of this was, because my friend took her own life, it's made me really concerned that she would take her own life as well. And I'm in no disillusion of the power of words and what they can do to a human being. Especially when said somebody that's really good about understanding the mind like I. So in that, I had to have a real chat with myself. And I don't wish death upon her. I don't wish death upon the friend either, on the friend that is smoking crack through a light bulb thinking that I'm going to call him. I don't wish death upon him either. Even though I dare say what he did is less worse than what she did, kind of, you know. I don't wish ill upon any of them. So I sit here and I go, I don't wish ill on any of you. And I don't want you to die. But I guess in my mind, I can basically, until further notice, kind of understand that you're just destined to be a loser. Unless you confront your stuff and that changes, like that's who you're destined to be. And that is her choice. She knows intellectually. She's a smart cookie, but also through while being together, she went to therapists, she did a lot of the stuff everyone's told her. Every time she doesn't hear something she likes from a therapist, she moves on to another therapist. She's like on her 9th therapist or something, whatever. It's just therapist, oh my God, they love me. And then once the attention is gone, then they move on to another one. But really, destined to be a loser forever. And me focusing on that, me focusing on holding the flame of believing in her, sending out energy if we believe in any of that hippie stuff, sending out energy to be like, you can do it, babe. She was this close. That's the sad thing. She was this close to uncovering the largest trauma and addressing it with her mum. They already even planned a conversation. It was ready. It was going to be like, it was in a course that helped transform relationships. It was just like, it was right there, weeks away from her opening up into a beautiful butterfly of what she would have experienced herself as to be. And I held that torch, 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 and I held that torch. And while holding that torch, all I'm doing is I'm focusing on her. And while I'm focusing on her, all that's happening is I'm becoming more of her vibe, and I forgot who I was. And I was like, if I change, if I be more like you, then maybe you will get that, look, I'm just like you. I just wanted to help her. I just want to help you clear your own stuff so you can be free in your heart. Because there's so much pain in her heart. Can you imagine how much pain you have to be in where you're so like disconnected from anybody but yourself? Like you don't know anything that's going on for anybody else. And what do I do with that, you know? What do I do with that? I go, all right. I don't wish death upon you, but I guess I've hit over this new grief point, and I'm like, and how I, you know, a weird thing happens for me. How I experience people, and generally maybe there's a bit of both things here. If you think somebody's a bad person, you'll only notice their bad things. If you think that somebody's a good person, you'll only notice their good things. So I'm also aware of that phenomena. But it seems like who I am in general and my stature in general as a human being, my word has larger impact, and how I can use my words has a larger impact. But she's basically, and as she left, she realized she fell off a cliff. Like, we lived in the best house in Australia. I sent her, I was like, let's go here, let's go here. I've opened up a whole new world of travel. Her business was set up. Systems were set up. I taught, and coached her how to live like 0.0001% of people. And when I say that is, you can do whatever you want. You earn a bunch of money and you build systems. The one thing is she didn't like her customer and she hated her business, which we were trying to change, but she didn't really want to do much work. So I'm not but in this relationship, I also wasn't trying to change the person. Like, just because I didn't like, just because I don't, just because I see that you should like your customer and you should like what you do, I understood that she's young, she's on her own journey, and she'll get there whenever she wants to. It's not my place to tell her or anything, but I was available to help her if need be. But she's been built this lifestyle that while she's living this lifestyle, it's got a permanent background of me in there. Permanent. No one else lives like me either. She knows the love that we had. She's literally said, I need somebody less of a man, somebody that I don't spend that much time with. You're basically like, she's just increasing the trauma and sadness on her. And it got me really scared. Because if she continues to do that, if she continues to make decisions which make her even sadder, she is at threat of ending her own life. Whether by accident or on purpose. And I don't wish that upon her. You know, and that's it. I don't wish that upon her. So, I don't wish that upon her, but in speaking to a lot of women here, so where I live, a lot of women speak to me a lot. Whenever I'm working out, whenever I walk around, every woman is trying to get in my face. By the way, if you're a man watching this, when you're on your own mission and you're achieving a bunch of stuff and you're actually just, you've got purpose and you've got masculinity and you're facing your own stuff and you're like in your higher purpose, women come to you. Women make themselves known to be like, hey, how are you? What's your name? That's what happens. People are searching for the hack of masculinity. How do you come up to women? How do you do that? And look, that's useful in its own right, but you can't cheat true masculinity. You can't cheat true grit. You can't cheat true woof. You can't cheat it. And they can smell it, they can feel it, it can vibrate. So if you have a women problem, focus on yourself and just get a really, really best version of you and feel really good about you. Not for women, but actually for you and for a higher purpose. And then everybody anyway. So in speaking to them, my boundaries are so high that there hasn't been a single woman yet that is even coming close to it. And in hindsight, I look at it from the side and I was like, all of these women would treat me 500 times better than my ex did. And that made me think, it's like, wow, so that person got in at that time, that's what happened, and this one is and my boundaries are high here. So it's like, what am I even doing? What am I doing? Why am I listening to other people? Why am I blah? So I think that's what's happened for me. I think I've kind of said, you know what, babe, good luck to you. You know? If you've chosen to be trailer trash while seeing the other side and how to get to the no trailer trash side, which all it is just facing yourself. It's not hard. It's hard, but it's not hard. It's just a choice. It's hard to make that choice and be like, right, I'm going to stop all the fun and actually face myself because I'm upset and I'm sad as an individual. That's all. That's the only hard choice. You know, and lots of people don't do that. If my mother always has arguments with me, all she has to do is confront. She's like, you know what? I love my son and we always argue. I'm going to confront myself and be like, I don't want to argue with my son anymore. I'm going to confront myself to understand what am I speaking makes me argue with him all the time. That's all. But she won't make the choice. She's now making the choice with my father's passing, 100%. But it's just a choice. It's just a choice. But that choice is hard because you're like, but it's not fun. I just want fun, easy, and the world should revolve around me and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. Well, have your fun and then cry in the mirror at night or inside and have suicidal thoughts. You deserve, I'm a firm believer, you deserve what you put in. You get out, in very simple terms, you get out what you put in. So if you ain't putting in anything, that's what you're going to get. Your life is going to be miserable. Miserable, miserable existence. No money in the world, no fake lips, fake tits, no social media, nothing, no narcotics, no rehab, nothing. It's just going to be detrimental shittery. Okay. That's your life. You, the ex, hurt me deeper than I thought that any other human being was ever capable of hurting another human being. Worse than killing me. Literally worse than killing me. Because at least killing me could be like, well, I had a moment of weakness and I shot you in the head. Okay. You know, I can get that. I can actually get that. You got triggered, emotions were high, rampant, it was a night, and you're like, and you killed the hubby. I get it. I do understand that. It's not legal. You need to go to prison for that and stuff. I understand that, but I understand that. But you repeatedly knowing what to do, repeatedly not doing it, for months and months and months and months and months and months is a choice over repeat, not in trigger. It's like even when you're calm, even when you're still making really, really horrible choices, even knowing, well, here's the right choice and here's how it impacts, and it's just, what do you do? So I think that has been a big shift. That has been a big shift. I don't wish death upon her. I deserve better, but not like I deserve better. Like, I really deserve. I deserve, which scares the fuck through me, something that probably doesn't exist. Realistically, needle in a haystack. I'm looking for somebody that confronts their shit for a majority of their life. I'm looking for a person that is outside of the matrix and tries to build life themselves, who has done passion projects, who lives outside of money, who lives with purpose, who wants to give to other people, who understands that they don't matter and the real gift of life is giving back to other people. It's to be able to receive people, to be able to speak to people, to be able to experience people's and really get their feelings. Do you know how many people don't get listened to? Majority of people don't get listened to. Like listened to, their actual existence doesn't get listened to. Sometimes just listening to a person and really getting what's going on for them can literally change their life. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for a really high barrier level of sexual connection, of sexual kinkery, and I'm looking also for huge intelligence on the substance train, because I don't mind substances here and there to enhance artistic experiences in life, and I've never met a single other person that treats mentally substances like I don't know if I've spoken this on this channel yet. There's one book that I will write at some point. It's been there for a while. It's around drugs. It's around how to actually get out of addiction, what drugs to take, what drugs not to take, what taking each drug means about you, and why we gravitate towards and fall down rabbit holes of certain narcotics, which teaches us the bits of our life that we need to address, and how for the world to actually take substances safely and recreationally and potentially with minor therapeutic benefits. Minor. Let me get this straight, because it's very clear. A lot of people are like, oh, this is so therapeutic, and it's good pattern interrupts. It's not bad therapy somewhat, but it's not life-changing therapy. What narcotics can sometimes give you is they can give you access to another realm or another version of you temporarily. It gives you some insights, then you sober up, and then what you have to do is then you go out and then you go, right, well now what I have to do is I have to go apply this in my real life, in my normal life. Point is like, I am looking for a needle in a haystack if I'm looking for that. And I'm not sure if that's out there for me. I'm really not sure if that's out there for me. And it's like a gift and a curse. The gift is that I get to be truly myself, and I get to live truly myself because everything was designed from scratch and outside of community. But the curse is that because I designed this all from scratch with a unique set of abilities and certain circumstances and understanding of brains and performing and blah, 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 like I spent 15 years of my life being a magician, an illusionist. And if you think about it, as an illusionist, your entire job is to understand how the human brain works and to be able to trick it and to be able to bypass it. So it's like, hey, look over here, while actually the magic is happening over here. And how to do that with large amounts of groups of people, like thousands of people, how to take their attention and move it to somewhere else, So I understand how fickle the brain is. I'm just not going to find that person. I'm just not going to find that person. So, anyway, I don't know why I'm saying that. Point is, that's kind of what's happened that's made me feel better. I did eat. Here's what's happening. I'm fasting from tomorrow. I am going on a fast. Now, the fast is not for weight loss. It's very specific because I was umming and ahhing for like 3 hours yesterday. I laid there and wrote it all out. It's not for weight loss. Specifically doing a 3.5 to 4 day fast because I haven't done one in about 3-4 years and my skin's not great. And I haven't given my body a break, and Nobel Prize. So there's all nonsense around the fitness fasting industry, bullshit, blah, 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 blah. There is one factual thing. Fasting is proven. It won a Nobel Prize in 2016 to what's called autophagy, which is recycle dead cells from all over your body and use them for energy and actually to clean out your body. And I was like, you know what? In this point in case, let's do a cleanup. Cleanup of this. During that, clean up the entire house. Clean up everything. embrace the suck. The other benefit is that will put me straight into ketosis, which means when I will eat after that, I'll be able to eat now clean, but it'll clean up everything from the insides, from the outsides. And that's it from there. So that's what's happening. This has been a long video. I want to explain why the shifts happened, what's happened, and there's a bunch of other stuff that I want to share, but then this video will be so long, it'll be just ridiculous. So I'll share more as it occurs tomorrow, etc. But, you know, that is what's happened. That is what's happened. And here we are. Here we are in a new realm. I don't wish death upon my ex. I don't wish death upon my ex. However, her existence will be forever sad unless she ever confronts this and actually makes amends with me. And she doesn't know that. And that's make amends with me and maybe not even be with me, but make amends with that. And frankly, I'm not sure, depending on the bit of my life of where I'm at, if I'm going to let her make amends. I probably will, because I love people, let her make amends if she's fully done, like fully transformed, like actually did the work fully, and that will be completely visible. But I think her fate has been sealed as well. And you can't save them all. In fact, going on, what I learn is I can't save anybody but myself. I already know what to do. I already know what to do. I already know how to do it. I'm here on this YouTube channel because I want to be able to, I still have a really core desire to help everybody as I learn, as I grow, to get what they want. And that's what YouTube is about. It's about showing, it's about showing the real shit of what it takes to have an incredible life by your own design. I call it the divine architect of your own reality. And I want everybody to be their divine architect of their own realities. And that's what this is here for. But until further notice, I can't save her. She needs to save herself. And I don't know if she will anymore. And it is what it is, and it is what it isn't, and I have to keep moving because Andrew's okay. Andrew's okay. We're on to the next. Well, on to the next. We're not on to the next, but that's the overall vibe. I love you very much. I hope you're having a brilliant day. Thank you for listening. If you're here still by the end of the video, you are my human. I appreciate you. It means you really firstly invested in me, so that's really thankful, because I think everybody hates me. I, as a baseline, think everybody hates me and everybody's always judging me because of my trauma. Even when people say positive stuff, I'm like, you don't mean that. You're actually just making fun of me secretly. That's my experience. So, but if you're here, that's proof that you're here for a good reason. But like all humans, we're here for ourselves. So that means that you're also here because you're getting some value out of it. So I appreciate you getting the value and being that type of person that goes and seeks value, not in short form, little bite-sized stuff, but in really in-depth stuff that not many people talk about or not many people reveal in a very authentic and real way. And I love you very, very much. Have a beautiful day, and remember, there are people around you that may be silent, that may be struggling. And although it seems like your problems are large, sometimes focusing on them can be a huge gift for them, and in turn will make you feel better and forget about your problems temporarily, and you'll be able to really make a difference to somebody else. Because God forbid any ones of your loved ones are struggling and you didn't know because you were too focused on yourself. I love you. Take care. Peace.